Hi, welcome. Welcome to Holzheimer's Distribution, and today we're talking with Steve Wyatt, promoter, vendor, artist. I've seen some of your artwork, so welcome, Steve.
Hey, hello there, Mary Lee.
How's it going?
As far as artist, I am a published comic book artist. I've been published in Viz, Image, one panel in Marvel. I've self-published 8 books, Blue Line, a handful of other things.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that. I only see your artwork on Facebook, so that's very cool.
Well, I always wanted to be a comic book artist. It just never worked out. So when I turned 40 and bought this house and didn't have kids, I had an extra room and went, I'm going to start drawing again. And I did. And I did some work for Image Comics. I inked a couple comic books. I've done some work for Viz Entertainment. Matter of fact, I did inked a Star Trek story with my buddy Nate that worldwide, they always do the best Star Trek stories, anime stories. There's the first, second, third place. Ours won fan favorite, which personally I think is better than first place.
I do too.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ours won worldwide best fan favorite.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah. I have learned something. That's awesome. And I know you're promoter. I know you put on mousecon and what else?
We put on East Bay Comic Con, Pasadena Comic Con, mousecon Bakersfield, South City Comic Con. I'm doing them in order by months. Santa Rosa Comic Con, San Reno Comic Con, which has been on hold for 2 years because they're doing construction. And then mousecon, the big mousecon, and then Bakersfield Comic Con.
Wow. We'll try and put all of those links below so that you can go check out those shows. But today we are here to talk about the Don Rosa Toy Collection.
Yes.
How did you get involved with this project? Well,
Don's an old friend of mine. I've known Don for 25 to 30 years. He's one of the comic historians, one of the most well-renowned comic book historians, and like the Uncle Scrooge and Donald Duck historian. After Don Rosa, or after Carl Barks passed on the mantle, Don had taken over doing Uncle Scrooge, and it all started, he submitted a story to Gladstone, they took it, he submitted another one, but with a bunch of drawings, and they went, how would you like to just draw this? And he's not a comic artist. He never wanted to draw comics a day in his life. But he's an engineer, college trained. And his family's had it. So if you look at his art, I mean, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, he pulls out a circle template to do their heads. He draws as an engineer would draw, not as a comic book artist. Yet that detail has made him the second most, and in some cases, the most popular duck artist in the world of all time. But we've been friends for years, and then for years, I mean, and he has a comic book collection. Oh my God. You know, Batman 1 up, Superman 4 up. He's got a complete Marvel collection, complete EC Comics, Dell, Harvey, Atlas. I mean, I could just keep going. I mean, his collection is world known. He never read comics after 1970. He never read any of them, but he had them all. In the mid-'80s, he finally went, I'm done. Well, we were talking about some new books like Giant Size X-Men 1. And he looked at one I had, and I had like $1,000 on it. He's like, I got one. Mine's in better shape. All mine are in better shape. He was right, by the way. All his were in better shape. Now, another thing you got to know about Don is he has OCD big time. We're talking monk. Now, each person has their own things, but his OCD growing up and starting in the mid-'60s when he started collecting comics was he picked the best copy of every book, and he bought everything that came out from the mid-'60s up. Everything was off the rack. Well, we talked, and he's like, I need to weed down my collection, so let's sell everything 1970 up. And this is where his OCD came in. Take Vampirella. So we're talking Warren magazines were complete, the Marvel magazines were complete. I mean, everything was complete. So we went in and we pulled every DC, Marvel, the 70s Atlas, everything post 1970, but everything had to be in increments of 5. Have I frozen up on your side?
Yes, you have.
Let's see if I can fix this. How about now?
Now you're blank.
I wonder what's going on. Don't you
It
hate computers?
could just be the internet. There you go. There you go. Welcome
There we
back.
go. So, having said that, Vampirella, perfect example. Number 1, 2, and 3 came out in 1969. Number 4 was the first in 1970. So instead of just giving me 1 up, he kept 1 through 5 because he couldn't sell 1, 2, and 3 because they came out in 1969. They're not 1970. So he had to keep, instead of giving me 4 and 5, he had to keep 1 through 5. I took 6 up. So
Yeah.
everything had to be in equals of 5, and nothing before 1970, absolute. So it was a week of going through books, and I drove right from his house straight to CGC and turned in 1,500 books to CGC. And other than 300 books, me and CGC were dead on the same grade. Now, some of them, they went higher. They only returned 30 books to me where I said, this has to get a whatever. So some of them, I didn't go for a 9.8 because it's like a key book. I'll take a 9.2. So 30 books weren't where I said they should be, and they returned only 30 books out of 1,500 books.
Wow, that's awesome.
Well, that cost me $60,000 to grade those books. Thank God I know CGC, they helped out. Let me make a few payments. But when we sold the collection, I sold it for basically 5 times what it was worth because every book was such high grade. And to this day, some of his books are the highest graded copies that exist of certain books. So there went that.
So
And now,
what about the toys? How did we get to the toys?
that's where we go. So I've been to Don's house. He lives in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. And he'd taken me up to his studio a few times. And if you look up Don Rosa Collection or Don Rosa Studio on YouTube, you can actually see a 20-minute tour of his studio where all these toys are in. So if you want details of everything. Well, he wanted to get rid of them. He was done with them. So for a couple years, he was like, hey, Steve, why don't you come and get my toys? And I'm like, okay, let's do this. Well, a friend of his approached him and said, Don, I work with an auction house. Can I take them? So he called me up. He said, Steve, I'm thinking of going this way. Do you mind? And because he wants to make sure I have first crack, and I'm happy because I did him so well in the last batch. And I'm like, Don, I don't really care. It's that much less work for me. So they took them. Well, 2 years go by, and I'm talking with Don, and, you know, I'm sitting here, and we're talking on the phone, and I'm like, whatever happened? And he's like, I don't know. They took them, and I haven't heard word one. It's been over 2 years. And I'm like, dude, you really need to figure this out. And so he did. He called the auction house, tried calling the guy. Turns out the auction house was just a middleman. They made a deal with the guy. He takes the collection in, he catalogs it, and he photographs it, and they're just the instrument to sell it, and they split the commission. That's what the auction. Hang on. Well, the auction house was like, he's only been in twice in 2 years to start cataloging. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
He kind of flagged us. So I told Don, you should get those back, you know, before something happens. And he's like, I don't know how to get them back because the auction house up north of Cleveland. So he called the auction house. We set it all up. I flew into Cleveland, rented a truck right in the middle of all this COVID world. I felt very safe social distancing on the plane. Southwest was actually really good. I guess they're not now, but then they were. But I get to Cleveland. I rented a Penske like a mile from the airport, drove straight to the auction house. So Penske waited for me to get off the plane because they were closed. The auction house waited for me. They were all really cool people. We set it all up. They waited for me, helped me load it in. I hit the road. I stopped at Walmart, bought my supplies, and did not leave the truck till I got to Vegas.
Wow.
So 25, and I stayed. The only reason Vegas is because my daughter lives in Vegas, and I'm driving through it. I'm not going to stop and visit my daughter.
Well, I
Um,
think people understand that.
yeah. So, and it was just a small 12-foot truck, but it was about a little over 50 boxes. And what you're seeing in these pictures, each box, that's what was in the box. So my wife would unload them, take a picture of what's in the box, and we still have over 40 boxes to go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, we're just scratching the surface. And everything is ducks. Uncle Scrooge, Donald Duck, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, Daisy Duck, Ludwig Van Drake, you know, anything to do with ducks is the only thing he collected.
Wow.
And the toys are from all over the world. Being a famous duck artist, people would send him stuff from, you know, I guess you can see this picture up here on your right. That the little piece in the front is from Switzerland. This piece is from other side.
Oh.
This piece is from no. You were right, but I mean the other side of the picture.
Oh,
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah, that little guy right there. But everything, there's pieces from all over the world, PVC figures, cups, stuff from the 40s, 50s, you know, like all the metal figures that they used to play with in the 40s. He had 2 or 3 boxes of those. I mean, some so real expensive stuff to kind of cheaper stuff, but everything's pedigreed and will be part of the Don Rosa Toy Collection.
And where will we be able to see this? Or when will it go up for sale?
Like there's all porcelain figures on your right side, and this is more of the metal toys and stuff on your left. Yeah. We were going to do it in January, but with Instagram problems, we've decided to kind of to heck with Instagram. I'm going to start February 1st. I'm going to start my push on my Facebook, which is just Stephen L. Wyatt. So I'm going to start my push there with these pictures. So this is our kind of promotion of these pictures and start talking about them. Problem with Instagram, I would put up a picture and write something about it. The words weren't coming up. So they blocked that from me for some reason, and we can't figure out in a month. So we're just going to go with Facebook, and I'm going to start pushing real heavy. And everything will be sold on eBay. And on my Facebook, there'll be a link to each.
And we'll put a link below too, so that they can keep watching, or, you know, till it goes. You know, they can look at the things that are there now.
Some people told me I should do Facebook Live auctions, but the problem is half this stuff's going to sell in Europe, where his audience. I mean, here to tell you, say they would come out with a Donald Duck comic, and even in the heyday, let's go to the heyday of comics in the 90s. He would do an Uncle Scrooge book, and they would sell 40,000 copies of it here in America. Well, that same copy would sell through Egmont, you know, 300,000 in Denmark, 200,000 in Switzerland, 400,000 in Germany, 300, you know, every single country out there, and we're even talking about Europe and Asia.
Yeah.
Read more comic books than people in America, even though it's 100% an American
thing, collection,
historical thing, the comic book. But because comic books were created here, they were made here. The comic strip comics is American, but Americans buy less comic books than anywhere else in the world.
Wow.
You know, it's sad, unfortunately. But no, here's some more pieces. Like there's only 5 pieces in this one, but you look how big they are, so they only fit in one box. And then this one's books, and that's a tray puzzle, and you know, we've got some cool stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, some of the pictures are awesome. You know, I mean, look at all the ducks.
It's all ducks. And there's my wife actually setting everything up and photographing while she watches tennis and soccer. They're photographing stuff right now, watching the French Open tennis matches right now.
With that many boxes, you kind of keep busy, you know, even if it is COVID.
She's labeling them, starting them, and then when we go to sell, we'll start with box 1. And like I said, we're probably going to do it on eBay. And we're going to start Don's got a partner in Europe, and Don's partner for selling his artwork and stuff is really going to start pushing it in Europe for us next month. So that's a big thing, because that's where the big sales are. I mean, I got a hold of some really cool Mickey Mouse comic strip art, and I sent it to Heritage. They sold it for me, and I asked Barry, I'm like, I know you can't tell me who bought it, but did it sell in Europe or in America? And he looked, and out of the 8 pieces, only 1 sold in America.
Wow.
And there was some big money spent on this stuff. And it tells you the Disney crowd, as big as it is here when it comes to the collectibles, it's in Europe. Now, Walt Disney Classic figures I'm going to sell here in America. But this stuff, you know.
It's going to sell worldwide. It's going to go.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, like this is a fun box right there. Yeah, that's a 1940s tin, and it winds up and it all works. And if you notice, they all have guns, so they're going hunting. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
They all got guns, so it's Mickey's taking the nephews to go hunting. And believe me, as a collector, there's so much of it that I want to keep, but I can't. So far, I've kept 1 piece. We have these things hanging in our kitchen. They're little puppets, and we have a Mickey, Pinocchio, Pluto, and Goofy. There's 5 to the set. There's a Donald. And I told Julie, hey, if you see the Donald, because they're just hanging on, they're from the 60s, and they're hanging on just the handles of our cabinets, just for fun. And I told Julie, if you see the Donald, she opens up the first box, and right on top, she's like, you mean this? It was right there. And like Karma was saying, there you go, Steve. You got it.
That's
and
awesome.
I mean, I collect figurines and stuff, and look at this box on this side, and the coin, the silver coin, I'd love to keep, but I'm being real good. And Dawn's like, I don't care, keep whatever you want, I don't care. So, but it's good
I know
stuff.
we have limited space. I get it. I get it. You know, you can only keep so much. It's amazing.
I have 11 glass cases of Disney figurines in my living room. And not just little thin curios. We're talking 4 foot by 6 foot glass cases, 11. And I'm out of room. And we're not talking about their lined up items like this. They're packed. And I'm out of room. So I can't keep half the stuff I want.
It's the problem of being a vendor. Every vendor I know has at least 1 or more of those cases full of stuff. So I get it.
Well, that's just the Disney stuff. You know, me and David, my son moved in. You know, I told you that he's 36, and we've been going through stuff. And we have just in our stuff, because I've been collecting since 1974. You know, I'm old. And I meet guys that are 10, 15 years older than me that haven't been doing this as long as I have.
I know.
You know?
They miss some of the great stuff.
Yeah. And I have sheds full of stuff. I have drawers full of artwork. I have hundreds of movie posters, all the ones I personally collected. And I have multiple copies of, like, you know, Star Wars A-sheet. I have like 10 of them left. Star Wars #1, I found a 10-pack of them.
Wow.
Yeah, I have just so much stuff. So we're just around, and I can't do what I do best, because if I'm not selling at shows, and this is how I got to know you, if I'm not putting on shows, I'm selling at them. And we've been selling at shows. I think we met in the mid-'80s at San Diego, if I'm not mistaken, because I've been selling there since '79. And San Diego's much smaller, so you actually got to see all the dealers back in the old days.
Well, they used to have that business night. We signed up for that, and then you could talk to everybody. And now it's like, oh, vendors can't talk to each other. Really?
Yeah, I know. Now when you walk around before the show, vendors, please go back to your booths. You're not allowed to. No, that's my one time I am stuck at a booth from the second they open to the second they close. It's my one time to go around and, 1, look at stuff, 2, say hi to friends.
Yeah.
Because during the show, you're stuck at your booth, I'm stuck at my booth, Scott's stuck at his booth, you know, Zillner, everybody's stuck at their booth.
People don't get it. It's you're lucky if we go to the bathroom, you know?
I know.
It's crazy.
Where my booth is situated, luckily, I have 2 bathrooms not far on each direction.
Bathroom's not far, but we're fighting Warner Brothers. Oh,
I didn't hear that.
don't take offense,
Yeah,
Warner
no.
Brothers. I still like you.
And I usually prefer the one in the back because the one up front is always has lines.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and then they were like, oh, go to the front. And you're like, but the Fox booth, you can't cross the stream. And they're like, oh, it'll be fine. No. So, yeah, it's crazy. But this will be a great thing. I mean, we're probably looking at most of 2021 where you're going to be selling little duckies. Yes.
I figure it's gonna take me about 6 months to sell it. I'll go with 23 weeks, just like you did the comics. We'll divide it into 23 batches, and what I'll be doing from day one. So like, probably have everything on a Saturday, sell on a Saturday, because that way it's still a Sunday in Europe, But from Monday to Friday, I'll be listing the items with everything, even though it costs a dime an item more to schedule it. And we'll have this is what we did with the comics, and it seemed to work. We'll schedule each item to go off in every like 3 minutes, so people have time to look at the new one, bid if they want. And 3 minutes isn't long. And if you've got 50 items, 3 minutes is still not a long time.
No.
To be sitting there. And most people these days, they'll be sitting watching TV and they can have it right here on their phone. They don't have to, like the old days, be set in front of a TV, a computer screen.
Monitor and getting.
Or we can do right now I've got you on full screen, but when I'm working here, I've got a window down here to check things, my listing window here, and a TV screen up here, all on my computer screen. So I'm watching TV almost all the time.
Oh, I know. We do that too, except when we're doing Zoom, So
right.
That and eBay and Amazon, and it's like, oh crap, I need a bigger screen.
But now you can buy a second monitor, and with a simple program. My friend Nate, I go to his house. I'm like, "What's that?" He goes, "Oh, it's my computer." He can actually have shoot the TV screen over here and have it on that full monitor, but it's still his computer because they're hooked up.
Yeah.
And be working here.
Oh, I know.
But I just
thinking about it. Since we're home so much, maybe.
I have so much stuff around me. This comic supplies, and this is comic books priced, comic books to be priced. This box is to be listed on eBay. This printer works for all the eBay stuff because it's a cheaper black and white toner printer. But this is the 11x17 scanner and color printer. I've got to have my record player and all my vinyl. That's a must. CDs are all on the computer now, so I no longer have to keep stacks of CDs. Even though I got a whole bunch up here, still need to be uploaded. But yeah, this is my world. This little triangle right here, with a window I never get to look out of.
Well, occasionally we'll have to get you to look out there. At least go outside and see the sun occasionally.
Well, the good thing is my office is in the backyard. Hopefully you can come over and see it. It's not like I'm stuck in the house. Joke to my wife, I got to go into the office, honey. It's 25 steps from the back door to the front door, and it's a nice insulated house. It's not like a shed we built in the backyard. You can see it's a nicely built house.
Yeah.
No, at the time I've got a cat laying right here asleep. Right now I don't, because we're on this and I get scared. But I do have 2 dogs right on the other side asleep. Yeah.
Well, coworkers.
Oh yeah, no, they keep my sanity up. To be honest with you,
No, but I totally understand. Well, I think we've gotten a great insight into the Don Rosa Toy Collection. I can't wait till it starts.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And
if we had, I was going to premiere this at San Diego Comic Con, not sell it, but premiere it. I'd taken it because I have 4 booths there, so take like 2/3 of one booth and display this collection. And not just this, take a half of another booth, because we still have that 10 by 20 storage locker of Disney, that from the Disney collection from the Playland Not at the Beach Museum that we acquired, which has got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Walt Disney Classic Collection figures and Thomas Kincaid lithographs and, you know, cells, and I mean just like millions, just ton. It was 2 truckloads to get it here.
Oh wow!
And I didn't even scratch the surface. You know what a big fig is, right?
Yeah,
I have
the
about
big
30.
statues.
Yeah, I have about 30 of them sitting in that small.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we had to set up 2 6-foot tables and kind of put them all up there as tight as we could, because I didn't want them sitting on the floor where it's dusty. So yeah, I mean, I have big figs here. I've got a Pinocchio right there and the Batman right there, and you know, I mean, we just stuff everywhere. But I love this world.
It's a good problem. I mean, at least you have stuff to sell while we're all inside.
And it's not all just stuff to sell. I really do love our world. You know, I mean,
People don't realize how
dread-
much, if as a dealer, you have to want it or collect it. And then when we, like at San Diego, when we get slammed, like we're not allowed to buy stuff, it's like, I was buying before you said I couldn't buy. You know, I'm not listing it. They just don't always understand, you know.
I know. I don't like it either, because I am a collector.
Mhm.
I mean, my plan in life, when I turn 65, the house gets paid off. So until I'm 65, I have to work, which is another 9 more years. When I'm 65, whatever stock I have, and I have 2 10 by 30 storages, that's my stock. And a shed here and another shed on the property. I have a 10 by 12 and a 10 by 20 shed on the property, and a 2-car garage full. Never had a car in it. When I retire at 65, I am selling all of it to 1 or 2, or I'll sell, you know, statues to this guy, toys to that guy, comic books to them. Or I told my son, if you want to continue the business, I just want to step away from it. I can help you, but I'm done moving, you know, 70-pound boxes of comic books. I don't want to do that at 65 years old.
Yeah.
So, having said that, I'm done. Then I'm going to spend my retirement selling my very vast collection. And I don't have a large comic book collection. I doubt I have 10 long boxes of comics in my personal collection. I mean, my collection got stolen about 25 years ago by Abram Oliver in Sacramento, California, who has A&B Comics on Foothill Boulevard, on Fair Oaks Boulevard. I said it publicly. Nothing I could do about it. My Kirby page that was, all my artwork was stolen. One of my Kirby pages that was signed to me by Jack in his living room just sold a Comic Link for $20,000. I didn't pay a dime for it. Jack gave it to me. It was a Captain America 102 page. But having said that, my collection got stolen, and I wasn't about to recollect Spider-Man 1-Up and FF 1-Up and X-Men 1. I had it all.
Yeah.
I'm not going to if I get Spider-Man 1, I'm going to sell it. You know?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. You read it. You enjoyed it when you had it. Yeah. No, I get it.
Having said that, I still read my Adamant, my Secret Squirrel, and my Frankenstein Jr., and my Partridge Family comics, my Hanna-Barbera comics. This stuff I enjoyed. I've recollected all that. So I have that, and then I have my toy collection, which I include my figurines, which is huge. Then I have a massive autograph collection, which I'll probably end up dying with that and giving it to the kids. Movie posters. I mean, I have collected this stuff, you know, for so many years. So I have my collection. So when I said I'm going to sell everything off, it's the stock. But keep my collection. And the kids have already picked out what they want. And my kids aren't little. They're 30 and 36. So I told them, anything you want, it's yours. I'll never, ever sell it. I might keep it on my wall till I die, but it's yours. And they've picked out things, and that's theirs. You know, there's things like I have an original 6-foot wooden Indian, cigar store Indian, in mint condition. in my front door. It was put in a bathroom that wasn't being used for 30 plus years because the store selling it was mad at the guy who it was $795. This guy kept stopping by and offered him $500. $500. Once every weekend, the guy would drive from Sacramento to Tahoe, and he'd go through Jackson where the store was. Well, I talked to him, and they had the replica ones, and I was like, someday I'm gonna own a real one. And the lady's like, you know, we have one. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she took me into the other house, into the bathroom, and they made wooden furniture and stuff. So the other house was a sales house. So it was a closed-up bathroom, and it had their records in it for 30 years. Piled in front of it. So they finally decided to clear out that bathroom, and they all forgot about it.
Yeah.
It was so buried into the bathroom. So then I'm like, well, how much? And they're like, $795. Still had the wire and the handwritten $795 thing on the, and I'm like, looked at my wife, and she's just laughing and went, okay. And she had just got a Disney card with a $1,000 limit. So there we go. And I picked it up 2 weeks later. And then I saw one, and this one's a chieftain. And so he's got feathers all the way down. He's got an extended arm, which is really rare for a cigar store Indian to have an added on piece. And he's holding a spear with little feathers on it. I was at a pawn shop, and they have one with a broken nose, all chipped up, and they wanted $1,500 for it. And I'm like, why is that $1,500? It's really beat up. And they're like, oh, and they told me about the pedigree, and they even made me a copy of the pedigree they had done. And I checked they showed me the markings on the back, and I came home and checked mine. Same markings, same pedigree. I looked it up, and a chieftain is worth more than a regular one. An added piece on a chieftain is worth even more than that. And then I called the company because they're still in business, even though they don't make those. They make the replicas now because the artist that did this is gone. And they said mine's a minimum of a $10,000 piece if it's in nice a shape as I sent it, as I say it. So I took pictures and sent it to them because they asked me to. And they're like, oh my God, this is like out of the factory yesterday, mint. And I'm like, yeah, I told you. It's been sitting in and they're like, can we buy it back from you? I'm like, no. It's a dream piece of mine. So it's sitting right at my front door. You walk in, and Chief Runamucker is what we call him, and he's there to greet you at the front door. So,
going, welcome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Welcome, exactly.
Oh,
And
great.
one hand's got cigars. But no, that's my collection is what I'll, I will say retire on,
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
So I'll be doing this till the day I die.
Probably so will I. So, well, thank you for your time today. I can't wait to hear how it goes. We'll keep following up with you. Check the below for all the links. Subscribe. Hit that like button. Thank you for joining us today. Bye.
Bye.